So yeah, I want to start kind of near the beginning then, and speak to you about Toyah because obviously
Yeah,
she and the band you were in had huge hits. I mean, the album Anthem was massive. There's songs like It's a
yeah,
Mystery and I Want to Be Free and Thunder in the Mountains and that track in
yeah.
particular, you co-wrote that one, didn't you? And I heard a wonderful story one time. You said about how you wrote it when you took a synthesizer to a hotel room and a bottle of brandy and away you went.
Yeah, it was me and Adrian Lee. We were on the Anthem tour actually, and we finished the gig. I think it was in Manchester. So he said, "Oh, let's take one. Let's take one of the synthesizers out of the truck and take it up to the room." So he went went into the room, and yeah, the brandy got opened, and yeah, we wrote "Thunder in the Mountains" there.
Incredible.
We didn't feel too good in the morning, but never mind.
A huge hit it was for the band as well, wasn't it? I mean, what was it like working with Toyah at that time? Because it was an interesting band because it kind of came from the punk movement, didn't it? And then it kind of moved into the
Yeah,
new wave and pop in a way as well. So what was it like with the
yeah.
audiences at that time?
The initial, I mean, the first tour we did after we did "It's a Mystery," we toured like universities, and that was like it was full of punks,
Yeah.
and it was all the gobbing, and,
Missiles, yeah.
and it was then I sort of thanked my lucky stars I was the drummer because I was a bit further back. But I mean, the other guys in Toyah just got covered in this stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting, really. But I mean, I could see one hurtling towards me, and I kind of willed it down, and it didn't get that way. And then after "It's a Mystery" hit in the charts, the audience changed. There were less punks. Obviously, there were still a few, but I always remember we played this. Where was it? Dunstable Civic Hall, and there was a guy in there, and he had this bright blue Mohican. Right, and we were doing this gig, and I saw this guy at the back, and he was walking across people. He was like, on top of them, and he came back, and he came right to the front. They threw him out, and about 10 minutes later, back he came again. It was hilarious, but yeah, the audience completely changed. But it was great. I mean, the whole tour was like, both tours were great.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said, the huge albums, huge songs and everything like that really put you in the
Yeah,
mainstream. But I think I've heard you say before that obviously Toyah was the face of the band. She was at the front of it and
yes,
the name and everything like that.
yeah,
And you guys were almost treated as if you were kind of, I don't know, faceless backing band or session musicians. And
yeah.
that
That's
did
true.
annoy
That's
you a
true. I
little
mean,
bit, didn't it?
it wasn't her fault.
No.
Obviously, it wasn't her fault. I mean, she was obviously the. I mean, I still, we keep in touch all the time now.
Okay.
Still in touch all the time, and. But no, so it wasn't her fault, but it was the press mainly sort of saying, we were like faceless things, yet we were the guys that wrote all the music.
Yeah.
So that was a bit frustrating at times, but hey ho, it is what it is.
And you say you keep in touch with Toyah. Are you a big fan of the videos her and Bob Fripp do?
Oh yeah, her and Robert, yeah, great. Sunday lunch, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious, But yeah, no, we keep in touch really regularly, so.
Fantastic. So how did you go from Toyah then to Saxon?
Well, we went over with Toyah. We went over to Germany to do some TV work. So it was all like sort of, basically like Top of the Pop, basically German Top of the Pops, Rock Palace and stuff like that. So it was all playback. And actually, I'll tell you a funny story about before we go on to the Saxon thing. But we were on this one, I think it was Rock Palace, and it was like Kim Wilde was on it, Motorhead were on it. They were on before us, right? And I had to use the same drum kit that Animal was using because none of the bands took their own gear. It was just like what was there. Big double kick setup. Animal pushed the whole lot over when they finished, and it was like, oh my God, we've got it. So it was like I had about 2 minutes to get stuff up. Everyone was grabbing cymbal stands, just putting them somewhere. Because he knocked a lot over. So that was a bit of a panic. But no, we came back from there, and I think I've been back.
Sorry, just to put in, I hate butting in, but just on the Motorhead point, obviously your paths must have crossed a lot during that kind of metal scene in the 80s. But weren't you on one of Lemmy's last tours as well?
Yeah, we were on his last tour.
That's right, yeah.
And I mean, we were on an American tour with him and a European tour. So it was a great shame to see how he sort of went down. You could see, but he was a great guy, fantastic. So we all got on great. I've known Phil Campbell since 1977.
Oh, wow.
So, because the first professional band I was ever in, we used to play in Wales a lot, and our singer, a guy called Terry Bennett, who was in a band called Sassafras, he was great friends with Phil. So Phil used to come to our gigs. So we've kept in touch ever since, you know.
Oh, fantastic. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, you wanted to go on to the Toyah, onto the Saxon scene. So yeah, so I'd been back, and one of the managers of Saxon happened to have been the bass player in my first pro band, right?
Okay.
And he rang me up. I was at home with my parents, and he rang me up and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, you know what I'm doing," because I mean, Toyah was big, you know. He said, "Yes, but what are you doing now?" And I went, "Well, I'm just about to have Sunday lunch with my mother and father, actually." And he went. Then he explained that Pete Gill had hurt himself and blah 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 blah. And I said, "Look, sure, you know," because I was doing a lot of sessions at that period too. So he knew you had, you know, to be a session player, you had to learn stuff fast. So he said to me, "Yeah, Saxon are playing. This is Sunday." He said, "Yeah, Saxon are starting a tour on Wednesday, and Pete Gill can't do it. So would you do it?" And I said, "Use me as a last resort, but yeah, sure." But I knew what he did. He sat by his phone for half an hour and then rang me back, said, "You're on." And he said, "Can you come up to London?" I said, "Yeah, once I've had my dinner." So shot up to London. Then we went to north of London. I can't exactly remember where the place was, but Saxon were rehearsing in an old cinema. So I went up there, and they had a couple of guys they were auditioning. So I had a blast with them, and you know, it worked out pretty well. And they said, "You know, will you do it?" And I went, "Yeah, sure." But I said I can only stay for a week or so, because Toyah and I were sort of planning this kind of thing, like what the hell were they called? Like Susie from Susie and the Banshees and Budgie did, just vocals, drums, and maybe a bit of synth, just something a bit different. We were like toying with the idea of that, and so they got the better guy out of the two people that were auditioning. They said, "Right, well, we'll have him sit behind you, so he'll have more time to learn the set. So when you leave, he can take over." So I went, "Okay." So first gig was in Brighton, at the Brighton Centre. So, and I'd bought tickets to go and see him.
You had the best seat in the house.
Yeah, it was actually. So a friend of mine that I was going with, I said, "Yeah, you better find someone else to go with, because I'm actually playing." He went, "What?" And yeah, so, and that's how it happened. So the first gig, that guy was behind me. After that first gig, he disappeared. He never turned up again. So I think the plan was to get me in, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Definitely sounds like it. Yeah. And
was that
a difficult conversation to have with Toyah then, to say, "Look, I'm going with these guys now"?
No, I didn't. To be quite honest with you, I didn't actually speak to Toyah. I spoke to Mick Tauber, who was the producer and everything, and told him, you know, maybe in retrospect, yeah, I should have spoken to Toyah and the rest of the guys as well, you know, out of sort of politeness. But it was all a bit of a mad panic trying to learn all these damn songs and everything. And because what eventually happened was we played Stafford Bingley Hall, I think it was, with bands. I think Budgie were on it and stuff. And we were in this country hotel somewhere. I just remember being in bed, and suddenly my door got kicked in, and they were all sitting at the end of my bed. You know, nice. I was fast asleep. And they asked me to join, and I said, "F off, I'll tell you in the morning." And then the next gig was Bristol, and I said, "Yeah, okay." That was it.
Oh, so it wasn't a difficult decision. I mean, they come between a man and his food and a man and his sleep. That's not a good sign to start with, is it?
No, it was good. I mean, we all got on great straight away, you know, instantly. It was good.